Hello and welcome to the day after the Sydney Mardi Gras. As you can see, Sydney is just waking up to beautiful blue skies and a gorgeous, glorious day. Or has anybody gone to sleep yet across this city? I've certainly gone to sleep, and I have woken up because when you are authoring a book or a lot of life tasks, you can dip in and dip out to what you want to do and still maintain your goals. So while most of Sydney is either asleep or haven't gone to sleep, I have reporting to you about my impressions, what I thought about the behind the scenes, why I decided for the first time in my life to associate with flowing on a float on the Sydney Mardi Gras, and the relevance as to what actually this has to do with my father being a boy of 12 and a half years old escaping the Nazis in 1939. And there is definitely a correlation. So first of all, welcome. As you can see, it's a beautiful, beautiful day. My father is actually sitting here in the corner listening to me. Say hello, Reg. Say hello.
Hello.
So I want to keep it brief, and I'll just give you my impressions. I was actually invited to go onto the transgender float. I had been doing a lot of work with CAPS, which is Child Abuse Prevention Services across Australia. I was invited by Albert Piras and also Balina G from Pacific Diva. And I was sitting in my apartment. It's only about 10 minutes away from where I live. And I wasn't going to go. I just thought, look, I've got so much work to do, and it doesn't really, what do I matter? The whole of Sydney's going to be there. They won't miss me. And then I started getting into the book, and I thought to myself, actually, it really does matter. And actually, as I'm sitting here in my apartment, which you can just see right now, it matters because there are so many people in the world that are in jails at the moment, not just because of their sexuality, but maybe because of their religion, maybe because of their skin color, maybe because of being oppressed, whatever the situation is. And I thought to myself, that's it. I put my pen down, and I was nervous because it's not necessarily going to be something I've ever done in my life. To be very honest with you, and here's a true confessional, I'm not necessarily the kind of person that believes in needing to have any more of the Mardi Gras, because I believe that we are all human beings. And so that's just what I believe. I've gone to party with the whole thing, but being associated on a float means you're making a statement. It's not just about gyrating. It's about really putting your heart and soul behind it. So I thought I'm going to have to really face some of my own personal demons, my own personal fears. And what's the point about writing and co-authoring what will be a bestseller this year, the stories I told my son, hi Tim, but at the same time, my father took action. My father took action for his right to be a Jewish boy in Poland, to escape from oppression. That's the message of this book, and not to have love beaten out of his soul. So I thought, well, that's my legacy. So what the hell am I doing sitting in my living room not doing anything about it? So I put on my outfit, and that really didn't matter. Hi Nancy, I love you back, my darling. Shalom, Boston. And so I decided, your earrings are coming by the way, and I decided I'm going to go. So for me, I put on my kippah, because I wanted to identify with my Jewishness and my freedom to express being Jewish in this amazing city. Second of all, I was born in this city, and I have been a criticizer of this city, and I thought to myself, I'm going to stop being that, and I'm going to support this amazing city that supported me, and we've been through a hell of a lot of the smoke and the fires, and it's still a glorious country, and we live in freedom. Relative freedom. So I was starting to get that vibe and all that sort of stuff. And then as I was getting closer to where everybody was assembling in Hyde Park, which is one end of where the parade is, I was starting to feel it. And what I felt was just people coming for a purpose. Yes, we all know about the party. We all know that as I speak right now, half of Sydney is partying, but I'm not. And you don't have to. You can just dip in, dip out. Hi Sasha, welcome. So the bottom line is this. as I was walking up William Street, which is just down the road from where I live, I thought to myself, I'm really glad I stopped the noise of the world for a minute and joined in on this celebration of freedom. So, to me, it's a celebration of freedom and respect, and I felt really good. And so I think a lot of my fears were allayed, and to be associated with the transgender float was a huge decision. First of all, I didn't just rock up to that float. You have to have an association. You have to mean it. You have to be transparent. First of all, they wouldn't invite you anyway. I've just done an amazing amount of work with Tracy McLeod-Howard, who's absolutely an extraordinary visionary and has set up all these child youth leader network groups to counter against abuse and violence with children. And so I've been doing all these roundtable discussions on this, similar to what like an Oprah sort of round discussion. We had a massive event last Thursday. I went to another event of theirs, and they asked me to join them. And I thought about it, and I said, absolutely, yes. So anyway, and so they greeted me. Now these women, when you think about what they have been through, you don't choose to change your sex lightly at all, on top of everything that's happening in the world. So I was so proud as a Jewish man living in Sydney, hi Judith, hello Kristen, to actually associate myself with the transgender float. That's a double niche, isn't it? But anyway, I love you too, Kristen. So anyway, the bottom line is this. They greeted me with respect. They had the respect returned. People think about transgender people as sex object. It's the last thing that it's about. And we just had the best time. So then what happened was, you get a band, and I'll just show you. And I write, it's absolutely, hello Judith. I just thought, this is fantastic. And so I identified. I put my hat in the ring as a Jewish male, Polish, Jewish, Australian gay guy with Polish roots living in Sydney, identifying with a festival of freedom and with a festival of hope, and also a celebration after everything, hi Kendra, that Australia has been through with the bushfires and everything. It's time to reaffirm internationally our standing on this planet. Really important. So anyway, the behind the scenes and the pre-parade was outstanding. So what happens is you get into this big area in Hyde Park, and it's super organized, it's super civilized, it's super respectful, and it's like I can imagine what it would be like going to the Olympics. When the parade starts, the very first opening parade, and that's what it was like. So basically, you've got all people from different floats, right? So you've got this group and that group and this group, and everybody's just relaxed and chilling, and there's hot dog stands, and this is all behind the scenes. Then at some point they say to you, okay, you need to start assembling. It's super organized. Our truck number was F21, simple. So what happens is all the trucks and all the floats are positioned behind Hyde Park, and you then walk, and it's all gated to your particular zone. And I have to say that was probably, if not the most fun part of it, it was certainly equal to being the most fun of it. Because then you go to your float, and I was with Balina G, Pacific Diva, who was the producer of our CAPS, which is Child Abuse Prevention Services Association. That's a big one. And so she said, come on, let's have a look at everybody. Hello, Dalia. Shalom. So anyway, it was amazing. And so we went to all the different floats, and it was like being at Luna Park. So the music was blaring, so some people were dancing, some people were talking, some people were networking, some people were exchanging. I think the connotation of the Sydney Gay Lesbian Mardi Gras is it's all about partying, it's all about sex. That's to be honest, and drugs. That's what everybody says. It's not at all. My experience anyway. So anyway, we were listening to music, and I got to know the people in my float so much better. I got to meet some other people. I met this amazing guy called Trevor, who's the Order of Australia, a highly respected guy. The police, we were talking to them about what their thoughts were. And I'm thinking to myself, right here and right now, in Israel, we have gay and lesbian rights. And right across the Middle East, people are being thrown off walls for identifying, hello Andy, with being a different thing to what is accepted. So I just thought this is also a way of me saying, come on Middle East, You got to, you know, follow your brothers and sisters in Israel and really do something about getting your freedom with regard to this situation. So anyway, it was fantastic, and you know, it was like they're very organized, and you must be there like 4 or 5 hours before. And so we were talking, we were dancing, and really getting to know the people on our float. And then finally the anticipation. So all of a sudden it goes from, hello John in the USA. So all of a sudden the lights are getting darker, you know, summer's still in Sydney, and the street lights go on, and you're thinking, okay, can't be long now, we've got to be moving. And so then the anticipation, we're like positioning ourselves. We were invited to either be walking alongside the float or actually on top of the truck. I'm a Jew boy. I'm going to be on top of the truck. What am I going to be? Schlepping on the street or anything? No way. Hi, Sally. Welcome. So the anticipation and organizing everybody in the float and where we're going to be and who we have to be with and all that sort of stuff was excellent. The DJ on our float was sensational. And actually the theme of it was Adam and Eve. Now, Adam and Eve goes right back to the Bible, whatever Bible you want. So that was fantastic. But it was the religion of respect. So then what happened was the tracks thing, and it starts, right? And you got to hold on. It's absolute law. You have to hold on. And let me tell you, they don't need to make that a law, because in actual fact, you do have to be absolutely on. Okay, fine. So then finally, you start going up, and your heartbeat starts getting faster. And you're thinking to yourself, what's my life got to do with the relevance of the Sydney and, you know, Mardi Gras? And I'm thinking to myself of the oppression of what my father went through, and 98% of our family being gassed or going sent to Auschwitz. And I was really proud, even more proud than ever, of the memoir coming out, because my father's message is they can try and beat hate into your heart, but they can't rip the soul out of your heart. And my father's message is so inclusive and embracive. Hello, Daniel. Welcome. So anyway, you go up, and then all of a sudden, there you are. You're on this float in a truck with thousands and thousands of people lined up, and you're like, oh, hello. And so that I thought was a bit awkward. I'm just going to be really honest with you. And you know I'm not shy, and I'm not one for being shy, but I found it a bit awkward, because I thought to myself, what do you do now? You know, so of course I was dancing and all that sort of stuff, and I'm like, well, everybody's dancing. I want to do something different. My father's always taught me, be different. Not for the sake of being different, but what do you feel like you want to do right now? I wanted to talk to people. Hello, David, Daniel. Oh, thank you for the hands up. So what I did was, I thought, I want to personalize this. I want to make this a personal experience. So that's why my voice is like this morning, because what happened was, I started pointing people out in the audience. Now, you know, there's 500,000 people around us, but that did not stop me. So as I was going down, when things were picking up with my eyes, I was identifying it. So for example, I'd be like, great hat. Where did you get that hat? Yes, you. Oh my God, look at that smile. Look at your wave. People couldn't get enough of it. I felt so connected, and we all know why it's the stories I told my son, is because my father is an absolute genius, and he is a champion storyteller, and his whole thing is he talks to anybody. He loves to break the ice, and I thought, well, my father will be very proud of me as I'm wearing my kippah, and so I personalized it, and it became a very, very personal experience. So we got to the end, but here I am this morning, and it's just past 10 o'clock, whatever the time is, and no, I'm not partying, and no, I'm not in some dance hall, which is fantastic, and I've done all of that, and no, it's not about me sleeping in this morning, because when you're an author, you are really possessed by the project, and it has to get done. I'm doing a whole series on the story, the actual process of being an author with Jackie Zook in Boston. Hi, Adrian. Welcome. I'm doing a whole series of authoring, how to, your business card, and why I'm up this morning on time with my father, who's listening to me right there in the corner. He's the most gorgeous Peter. Hello, Peter. I think in Canberra. And say hello to Joanna, please. So we're here. We're about to work. We're continuing with our book, and now more than ever, I am so proud of our legacy. Everyone has a pebble that can be cast into the pond of life. Never give up on the ripples of your life. As you can see, I have a better voice probably tomorrow, and I'm missing an arm on my glasses, which I'm going to get repaired at Specsavers as soon as I'm done. So here's my message. It was an extraordinary experience. You can dip in and dip out, but the essential thing is if you do not voice your voice, then guess what? It will be taken away, guaranteed. And the other major message of the Stories I Told My Son book is, and it's a message that comes also from Pink herself, you don't have to like me, you don't even need to have to love me, but you need to respect me. I just feel a little bit better about, actually a whole lot more better about the world, a whole lot more excited, even more if possible, that our book, it's written from the eyes of a drone. So thank you for joining me on our special Mardi Gras. What has that got to do with the stories I told my son and a Jewish boy escaping at the age of 12 and a half from the Nazis? And guess what? It's more relevant than ever today. Thank you. Shalom. Goodbye.